MacKenzie Gore dominates the Atlanta Braves, striking out 10 Atlanta Braves batters in 5 1/3 innings pitched. That makes it back-to-back performances for National starters, striking out 10 Atlanta Braves.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can check us out over on YouTube. Just search up Locked On Nationals. And also, while you're at it, make sure to search us up over on Twitter. Just look up LO_Nationals and find my own page. You can find me at Brian Clary 11. And of course, again, search up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcast, because it is your team every single day here, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Later on in today's show, we'll be previewing Game 3 of this Braves, or Game 4 rather, of this Nationals Braves series. As the Nationals, they've won 2 of the first 3 games. They have done so in great fashion, as this Nationals team might be back to being red hot. So I'll have that preview a little bit later on, as it's Trevor Williams, Nationals ace at this point, against Reynaldo Lopez, former Nationals top prospect, one of the better pitching prospects from the Nationals really last few years. Back when he was traded to the White Sox alongside Lucas Giolito, he has had a well of a season so far for the Atlanta Braves, as he was made a starting pitcher by them after being in the bullpen for quite some time with the White Sox, then being traded last year at the deadline. Well, he's been really damn good with the Braves. Surprise, surprise. We'll have that preview a little bit later on in today's show. Second segment, kind of looking deeper into the Nationals pitchers. I mean, this has been the big storyline of the week, in my opinion. The Nationals starting pitchers have been great. They just have been. Outside of Patrick Corbin, obviously, there have been a ton of bright moments. So let's kind of get into it, see what the numbers say about these National starting pitchers, and as well as Team ERA as a whole. It is a very good team right now as far as their pitching staff goes. Does Sean Doolittle deserve a lot more credit than he is getting, or maybe even a little less? We'll have that discussion in the second segment of today's show. But we got to start off talking about last night's win. And of course, history may have been made. The Nationals, they beat the Braves in the first 2 of 3 games. Now they can try to go to win 3 of 4 against the Atlanta Braves. But today's episode is brought to you by SupplyHouse. SupplyHouse.com is a reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job, and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. So as we mentioned, the Nationals, they did really damn well in last night's win, as MacKenzie Gore struck out 10 Atlanta Braves, and MacKenzie Gore and Jake Irvin struck out 10 batters in back-to-back games. They are the first Nationals duo to strike out 10 hitters in consecutive games since Patrick Corbin and Max Scherzer on September 17th and 18th, 2019. That was from the Nationals communications staff there. They tweeted that out last night, and as soon as I saw that, I was just like, oh my God. This Nationals pitching staff so far, and really looking at MacKenzie Gore, we kind of joke about Trevor Williams being the ace of the staff, but we all know that it's MacKenzie Gore. He is the guy that you want out there in any big game situation. Last night, now while it is still May, it was May 29th yesterday, it's not the end of the world, but when you have a big game situation, you want the Nationals to have MacKenzie Gore out there. Even with the way that Trevor Williams has pitched so far this season, and he's been great. There is no complaints from me as far as Trevor Williams goes. He has been awesome. He's going to be a big trade candidate at the deadline. And now you have MacKenzie Gore, who has back-to-back very good starts for this team. So in last night's contest, again, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, and more importantly, in my opinion, 0 walks, 6 hits. And his ERA is down to a sub-3, which is a 2.91 ERA on the 2024 campaign. This has been what we have been waiting for MacKenzie Gore. Last night, and what he did was just simply special. And we saw this a lot last year, where he would strike out 9, 10 batters in a row and have a few walks, but that's really what hindered him the most, was kind of raising up that pitch count, which, again, when you're striking out a lot of guys, you're going to have a little bit of a higher pitch count, as we've seen with Max Scherzer in the past. It gets a little bit tougher to go deeper into ball games when you're striking out all these guys. You have to work the count and do all the different things to get batters out and strike them out eventually. So having that, it's not a problem. It's a problem, quote unquote, that I'll take any single day of the week because in my opinion, I look at strikeouts and I value them a lot more than I think other people's do. It just shows that you have the stuff that guys are not putting the ball in play. You're finding the zone. You're pounding the zone. And even then, you're missing bats. That's what MacKenzie Gore was doing yesterday against a very good Atlanta Braves offense. When you were going up against Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Travis d'Arnaud, all the different guys, even 1 through 9, while their numbers may not be all that great, a lot of these guys have started off the season very slow. But now going into it, MacKenzie Gore, he was kind of the man of the hour yesterday. He was the story of the ball game. I was not really expecting that. I thought MacKenzie Gore, in fact, while I think he's very good, but I thought it would be a very tough game for him, especially going up against right-handed hitters like an Austin Riley or an Ozzie Albies hitting from the right side of the plate in yesterday's game against him. I thought it would be a very tough day for MacKenzie Gore, but he just showed me what I know. He dominated. In seeing this, and again, he had one unearned run from an error from C.J. Abrams that we all saw. Whatever. C.J. Abrams did not have his good game yesterday. 0 for 5, 4 strikeouts in yesterday's game. I'll take it because, again, the Nationals won. They got a big win. You beat the Atlanta Braves. And again, more importantly, now flipping into the offensive side of things, C.J. Abrams, he's kind of been that guy to catapult us to wins over the first 2 months of the season. He has been that guy that you look for and say, well, if he's not going to be humming, then this offense is not going to be producing. Well, that was not the case in yesterday's ball game. Lane Thomas has come back, and he made a loud noise in one of his first few games back. He had a 3-run home run in the 5th inning to make it 3-1, and also added 3 hits in total with a double, a home run, and a single. Lane Thomas, you are back. A triple shy of the cycle in one of his first few games back after having a pretty scary knee injury just last month. Lane Thomas, he started off slow. But now if you look at the trend outside of last year, Lane Thomas has always started slow. He's always been a second-half performer, even dating back to his St. Louis Cardinals days, even dating back to his minor league days when he was coming up through the Cardinals system. This has been what Lane Thomas is. But now as we see the summer coming around the corner, the ball is going to start to fly a little bit more. So does Lane Thomas's offensive numbers. He is going to start producing at a rate that I think we saw from the first half of last season. Now, I'm not expecting a 900 OPS from him in the first half. I'm not expecting that. I don't think anyone should be expecting that. But I think you should be expecting an above-average major league hitter from here on out. That is what Lane Thomas has shown us to be over the last 2 seasons. He's had his dips and peaks and valleys and all the different things out there as a major league player. But one thing is for sure is that he is an above-average major league hitter. And what we saw in yesterday's game as well, and even the last few series, is he's going to make a difference in right field. That catch that he had, saving MacKenzie Gore's butt, sliding, making that catch, you even saw MacKenzie Gore kind of go, wow, off the mound. That was a great play, a sliding catch. And then, of course, in yesterday's ball game, getting the Gatorade bath, Lane Thomas, seeing him back and producing for this team just means so much to this offense. And not only just the offense, but he's kind of the heart and soul and captain of this team in a sense. There are guys on this roster like Patrick Corbin who may not be out in the most popular way. We all know what Patrick Corbin has done and hasn't done more specifically, but Patrick Corbin and Lane Thomas, they're kind of the leaders of this clubhouse. Obviously, Patrick Corbin is one of the last guys standing from the 2019 World Series team alongside Tanner Rainey, but Tanner Rainey is not really a leader at this point in his career. But Lane Thomas, looking at him specifically, he is the leader of the clubhouse. He is the guy to take these younger guys under his wing. And I think you're starting to see, as this Nationals team continues to mature, as they continue to get better day in and day out, you see Lane Thomas and his leading capabilities, and specifically in last night's game, having 3 hits, charging this offense, getting up to a good point and having a big lead and making big plays in big situations. That is what Lane Thomas has done. And that is what I expect from Lane Thomas as well. And I think that's probably what you should expect from Lane Thomas as well. So as the Nationals, C.J. Abrams was the talk of the first 2 months of the season, as he should have been. He was great. But last night, he didn't have to get the job done in order for this Nationals team to put on runs. You saw it with Keibert Ruiz. You saw it with Jacob Young. All these different pieces that are starting to mold into a better situation in which this Nationals team is right now. You're starting to see some good playing baseball. And this is not really what we have expected so far this season. The Nationals, dare I say, they might be red hot. And they might, just might, be coming for a wild card spot. Maybe. We'll have that discussion maybe later on this week, depending how they do against the Cleveland Guardians, which series starts tomorrow in Cleveland. Next, let's talk about this National starting rotation, as they have been the talk around town, as they should be. They have been just insane at this point. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know. I was not expecting this. I was expecting some guys like Gore and Gray and Irvin to take some steps up. But to this level, sheesh, it's been incredible. We're going to have a little deep dive into the numbers and what they say about this Nationals team. And more importantly, the Sean Doolittle deserved the credit that he has been given over the last few weeks. I'll have that answer after I tell you about our friends at SupplyHouse. And guys, get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is a reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thank you all again for making Locked On Nats your first listen. Now, we got to talk about this, because the Nationals starting rotation, and really just the team pitching as a whole, has completely turned it around in 2024. They have been incredible. They have been the talk around town. I was expecting the Nationals offense to kind of carry the load for this team, but no, it has been the starting rotation in particular, and as well as a couple key pieces of this bullpen. And of course, we're going to answer, does Sean Doolittle deserve all the credit in the world for this? I'll have that answer in just a few minutes from now, but let's start off with the bullpen at first. We knew going into this year that Hunter Harvey, being your setup guy, was set in stone. He was going to be good. He has been proven to be good over the last 2 seasons. Kyle Finnegan, while some people had a little bit of mixed feelings on him, I've always believed in Kyle Finnegan, and I've always said if this guy, for instance, was a Tampa Bay Ray, he'd be one of the better closers in the American League, and of course, in this situation, in the National League for the Nationals. Now, Kyle Finnegan, maybe some people say it's a little bit of fool's gold. I don't necessarily think so. I think Kyle Finnegan is starting to really just come into his own as a closing pitcher. Now, is he going to be a closing pitcher for a good baseball team making a run in the October? I don't know at this point. But I think at this point, you can also rely on him to do that job and to do it well. Kyle Finnegan has been one of the better stories as far as the Nationals go over the last few years. You have Lane Thomas up there, and then you have Kyle Finnegan. Kyle Finnegan was signed from the Oakland A's minor league system after 2019, was signed by Mike Rizzo and signed into a major league deal, in which I remember that signing, I was like, who the hell is this guy? Why are we addressing the bullpen with a minor league guy? And they're saying that he's going to be pitching in a big role. Well, that shows what I know, because right away in 2020, he showed a lot of promise. He did blow some games, but still in 2021, you saw him pitch well. 2022, you kind of saw him pitch well as well. Last year started off rough as well, but since then, he has settled in, and he is your Nationals closer, and he deserves that role any single day. And then also this last offseason, you have Dylan Floro come in, a trusted vet. At that point last year wasn't his best season, but still he has pitched in postseason performances before. He has had deep postseason runs. Dylan Floro is another guy who came in which I was like, yeah, I mean, he'll probably help the bullpen. He's going to pitch in some meaningful situations, but the things that he has done this year is incredible. He's had really one bad outing at this point in 2024, and that came just a few days ago, coming off back-to-back pitching days. Dylan Floro has come in and he has a 1 ERA. I mean, I don't really look at ERAs for bullpen guys and really dictate their success, but if you have a 1 ERA, the way that Dylan Floro does so far through 2 months of the season, you're doing something right. You just are. And he has been doing everything right. And Davey Martinez, while he has had some scratchy, weird decisions at times, especially with starting pitchers this season, maybe pulling guys a little bit too early and sometimes pulling guys a little bit too late, as we've seen in the past. He has done a decent job here recently working this bullpen, especially in this Braves series. As last night's game, MacKenzie Gore, you go to the bullpen, and the bullpen looked damn well against a very good Braves offense. Now, kind of answering the question here, does Sean Doolittle deserve the credit that he has been getting over the last few weeks here, as we continue to recognize his significance in this role? Does he deserve the credit that he has been getting? Absolutely. Here's the thing. Jim Hickey, I was calling for his job last year. I don't like doing that. I don't like saying that. I don't even like admitting that. But I was not a fan of Jim Hickey. Because again, one thing in particular, when he was with Grant and Danny on opening day in 2023, and when he was asked about analytics in today's game, we all know analytics play a big role in what you do. He kind of just no-sold it. He didn't really say that he wasn't buying into it, but he kind of just said it's just part of the game at this point. I'm not saying that it is the game, but in pitchers in their world, the world that MacKenzie Gore lives in, the world that Jake Irvin lives in, Mitchell Parker, it is their world. And now you have Sean Doolittle, who is kind of the analytics guy, who is one of the first few relievers in particular who was really using analytics to drive up his fastball spin rate, in which you saw him use as a Washington National for quite some time. And he used it in an effective way. So Sean Doolittle's role, he's kind of the middleman of the analytics department as well as the players. When you have someone like Sean Doolittle who has been there and done that, relaying all the information for you in the dugout as far as analytics go, maybe just giving advice of what he has seen and what you should do to attack hitters in these situations. But Sean Doolittle is that middleman of getting the analytics to it. And I think you're starting to reap the benefits of Sean Doolittle's effect on this team. Because look at it this way. The Nationals have a 3.8 team ERA, which is fifth best in the National League. Their starting rotation ERA is sixth best in the NL. And without Patrick Corbin in it, taking him out of the equation, they would be the third best starting pitcher ERA in the National League, which is only behind Philly and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Those stats are from Grant Paulson. You can catch him over on Twitter at Grant H. Paulson. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. This team and this situation that we're in, as far as starting pitchers go, and really as far as team ERA goes as a whole, and again, I don't look in the team ERA all too much. There's a lot of faulty factors in this equation, but that is good nonetheless. You are not expecting that the Nationals will be in the top third of team ERAs in the National League. You were not expecting that. And if you were, you're a liar. I'm a liar. I lie a lot. Guess what? I was not expecting this. Sean Doolittle and what he has done so far for the 2024 Nationals, give this guy the pitching job going into 2025. If you do not allow that, he is going to get plucked by another organization. And God forbid, it will be the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, they have had a very good season as far as pitching goes. Their bullpen has been nails. Their starting rotation has been nails as well. So whoever they've got going as their pitching coach, they're probably not looking to replace them. But there is an organization out there who is a savvy one that will be looking to pluck someone like a Sean Doolittle at this point. I would not be surprised to see the Nationals move off of Jim Hickey, and that would be a pretty decent decision, in my opinion, at this point. You got to move on from Jim Hickey and have Sean Doolittle have that pitching role coach. Because I don't know if Sean Doolittle's interest is going to be as a manager. I don't know if that's really going to be his role down the line. But one thing is for sure is that a smart organization will look at Sean Doolittle and see the effect that he has had on these starting pitchers and say, we want that guy. Because again, this Nationals rotation right now, there's really not that much talent if you look at it at this point. Trevor Williams has pitched out of his mind. He was not good last year. In fact, he was bad. Patrick Corbin, still bad. Take him out of the equation here. MacKenzie Gore, the jump that he has made from year one with the Nationals last season to year two, he's having an all-star campaign. Kyle Finnegan, all-star campaign. Guys like Mitchell Parker coming out of nowhere. Now, again, he's had good years in the past down in the minors, but he's not supposed to be this good up in the majors at this young of an age. He's been damn good. Looking at Cade Cavalli and what he does when he comes back from Tommy John. I'm excited to see what this guy can do when Sean Doolittle gets his hands on him. Because there has been no constants throughout the years as far as Nationals pitchers go. There has been a lot of inconsistency. But so far this season, and again, it's only been 2 months, things could fall off the rails here, and maybe we're blaming Sean Doolittle for doing that in a few months from now, but I don't see that at this point. I don't see it at all. Sean Doolittle, he deserves all the credit. He deserves all the praise because, again, we haven't seen this kind of performances since 2019 when the Nationals won the World Series. It has not been a good go over the last few years for the Nationals pitchers. So you got Sean Doolittle in the door. You cannot let him walk out that door. You cannot. You have to do whatever it takes. And maybe Sean Doolittle's that guy who just has loyalty to this organization, in which he will probably be remembered mostly as a Washington National when his career is all said and done, in which it is right now. He was in Oakland A, but still, he won a World Series with the Washington Nationals. He was one of the key figures of that Nationals postseason run in 2019. He deserves some credit. What he has done this year, you cannot let this guy walk through that door. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And next, let's preview Game 4 of this series. The Nationals, they go for a series win, try to win 3 of 4 against the Atlanta Braves. Reynaldo Lopez, one of the former Nats' top prospects, he stands in their way. We'll have that preview for you after we tell you guys about our friends at FanDuel. And guys, it's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Like tonight, I am looking at the Mavericks, and of course, I think Kyrie Irving's going to go off in tonight's game, as he has done against the Timberwolves all series long. Let's take the over on his points, and also, why not? Let's take the Mavericks money line. So all you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. Again, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Again, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And guys, the Nationals, they got a big game today, as I want to see them beat the Atlanta Braves down in Atlanta in 3 of 4 games. And you got a pretty damn good matchup for what you want. Trevor Williams, who has yet to give up a loss all season long, a 2.29 ERA on the season against Reynaldo Lopez. Now, here's the thing. You remember Reynaldo Lopez if you're a Nationals prospect mark. He was not the biggest marquee prospect in the world. He had Lucas Giolito ahead of him, but Reynaldo Lopez was a guy that the Nationals were very high on. They moved him up through the minor leagues really quickly, and he didn't have the most success with the team right away, but he was solid. You saw the potential with him. And now, since being traded to the White Sox back in the Adam Eaton deal alongside Lucas Giolito and Dane Dunning, He kind of had some faulty moments with the White Sox, got moved to the bullpen, was wildly successful the last 2 years in the bullpen, got traded last year as well to the Angels, and then signed by the Braves this last offseason. And they were like, nope, this guy's a starting pitcher. And I was kind of like, what? Like, he was one of the better relief pitchers last year. And of course, look at him now. He's got a sub-2 ERA for over his first 2 months of the season. Reynaldo Lopez, you don't really have that much experience against him, but good for the Nationals because you got Trevor Williams on the bump. Now, if you look at it from this perspective, Trevor Williams last year, and again, this guy has been in the NL East with the Mets in the past and the Nationals this last year. You look at the numbers and guys who have gone up against him in limited situations, and yes, it's not that pretty. You look at guys like Orlando Arcia, who has a 941 OPS and 20 at-bats against him, batting 300. And then on the other hand, you have guys like Marcell Ozuna, who's batting 333 against him and 30 at-bats. But this is a different Trevor Williams. I'm not going to bet against Trevor Williams anymore. Now, if you kind of listen every day, and if you're an everydayer, thank you, you kind of know what my bit is. I feel like at times I have this jinx, and it's a good jinx to have. I think today is the day that Trevor Williams gets rocked around. It's got to happen eventually, right? He's got to land back on planet Earth at some time, right? Because Trevor Williams, he's a solid pitcher, but he's not this good. He's not a sub-2.5 ERA kind of guy. He can't have that. He can't do that against the Braves. And the Nationals going down to Atlanta, winning 3 of 4 games in Atlanta against very good pitchers. That can't happen, right? If you know, you know. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day. If you are an everydayer out there, thank you. If you're not, make sure to look us up, Locked On Nationals. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Again, just look up Locked On Nationals. Enjoy tonight's game. Enjoy tonight's action. Will Trevor Williams get a win? I bet against it. If you know, you know.